What's up, Jamie? How are you?
Good, man. Glad to be here.
If you don't know, this is Eddie Donaldson, aka Guerilla 1, from the 7th letter. And I'm here today with a legend in the graffiti world, Vision, from West Coast, right?
That's right.
Big bad West Coast artist.
WCA.
And I appreciate you coming and taking the time out of your busy day to sit with us, with me and Blake today.
Good. Yeah. Glad to be here.
So, I guess today we're talking about the writing on the wall, which is a big thing for both of us and has been for the majority of our adult life.
I started probably scratching and scrawling and imitating.
It's awesome.
That was the beginning of, just sort of imitating what I saw with the New York influence and that's what came first for us. And it eventually kind of moved into painting and graffiti, yeah.
So you were a b-boy.
Oh yeah.
So Venice was your hood, and that was a big influence in your decision to write graffiti. Were you drawn to the gang graffiti, or was it like, what was it about graffiti that drew you in?
So I think it was a little bit of both. Like, living in Venice, it was like growing up at Land's End in the surf neighborhood, territorial. So there was always writing on the wall, growing up in a surf spot that was localized, there was always messages written everywhere.
Yeah.
Warnings placed.
Yeah. No
Directions on how to behave. So, in elementary school, I was imitating that.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually I'd find my spot down at the beach, maybe with a pen. Eventually it led to a spray can, just imitating what these guys were doing. And, basically we were the next generation coming up. But, so yeah, I was influenced, not so much gang, but territorial sort of surf culture.
Understood, locals only.
Yeah, that's
if
right.
you don't live here, don't surf here.
That's right. My love for just doing endurance stuff and the mountains has morphed into doing a lot of journeys, long journeys in the mountains. So anywhere from 20 to 75-mile runs.
Jesus.
So,
would you say that's kind of a form of meditation for you?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like a reset, and yeah, it's just a way of life for me. The whole thing of going up the mountain and then coming down.
Yeah.
So, two different experiences, done all with mindfulness. But usually when I start in the mountains, I reach down on the ground and I grab a handful of dirt and rock and I run with it for a little while, and just get grounded, just connect, never with music. I never tune out. I listen to everything, see the signs, the birds flying. So you're doing this in the back of LA in the Angeles Crest while you're staring at downtown and the ocean if it's clear. So you're just making a connection with, stepping out of where we live in this busy life and making that connection on a daily basis.
That's lucky for us here in California.
Yeah, it's a blessing in LA. It's one of the gems of the city that not many people know about.
How does Venice permeate into your artist expression?
So it had many levels of experience and influence. I mean, that were cemented into my future. I mean, it was crazy, like complete nuts to just total zen, like we knew we had something really good. The convenience of, and the sort of special place that, because it was sort of surrounded all by walls.
Yeah.
And then there was outer walls.
Yeah.
So it's all dependent on how you wanted to express yourself. So we had the ability to surf and hang out during the day and enjoy what we did at night, and then also just be down there all night long and paint, And it was another territorial thing too, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Until it became popular. Started with the neighborhood kids. We had a little crew called TNG, which was the new generation.
That's dope.
So we were just letting everybody know that we were coming up, and we looked up to a lot of crews. So I painted with Tame, Severe, Den, who you may know from Fucked, vein, painted with all kinds of kids. But eventually, you know, people started coming to Venice, and the cast of painters got bigger.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So these were guys that I grew up with, and it started, you know, as something just fun, young kids sitting drawing, influenced by, you know, New York, and then we just started getting more adventurous. You know, Mike eventually, I used to paint with Mike. I actually brought some photos I can show you guys, but you know, he was a young kid that looked up to me. I had a bunch of young kids that would kind of like gather around, and you know, I don't think my influence was too much on my ability to paint. You know, I was probably just an average writer, but I think my energy and enthusiasm and sort of command of controlling the environment, these guys all hung out with me. And Mike eventually, you know, branched off into doing music, and you know, has a big music career now. And I mean, same thing with my buddy Tame, Nick. You know, he was doing graffiti, and his dad was a photographer, so he was always creative, and he eventually moved into, you know, the production world and working in the industry. And you know, I mean, it's kind of what we do in LA. I mean, Bagel, you know, Bagel's always been creative and strong-minded and strong-willed, and he did what he wanted always, you know. And we were roommates as young kids, and we were always like this, but we were best of friends. So I mean, still are. We are best of friends.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you and Bagel are up to now with this collab stuff that you do?
Yeah, so back in the day, you know, he couldn't stand us doing graffiti. Like, just he would just ride us, this bullshit that you guys are doing, riding everywhere, and you know, like the colorful kind of graffiti shit versus just writing Venice breakwater on the wall, you know.
Yeah.
And because I'd have, on any given Friday night, there'd be a half dozen people in the house drinking and drawing in black books, and you know, I mean, you could follow the spray paint path to our house just about if you were smart enough.
Yeah, that's right. Follow the writing on the wall.
It just used to bother the shit out of him, but he always took pictures. So, and it's really fortunate because he captured that time in our lives just in a real tasteful way, not overproduced, just in a real classical, just pure way. So now as grown-ups, we've sort of tapped back into the past, and he dove back into his photos from when we were younger. And to see these things come to life and, you know, being printed, which is important, I mean, we've both just been really moved by it. And has led to us actually kind of just working together to express another level of the photos and maybe another level of what I used to do as far as graffiti.
Times.
Yeah. So we've come together and just meshed these two experiences, and yeah, we've been able to do a handful of pieces and be in a couple shows together, and we're riding it along.
Yeah, we have a couple things coming up with you guys on. I mean, this is not for the mag, but for the video, we're gonna have they're gonna be in the Love Malibu style show and also the Love Los Angeles style show. Because Bagel has some great shots of Malibu fires. I don't know how they're gonna collaborate on them, but we're gonna put them in both shows.
Oh.
Well, we already did that one. Sponto told me to ask you a question. I said, what should I ask Jamie? And he said, for a while, he was just out there fucking going bananas, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah. No, that's a good question, and I think it's important to talk about, because you know, even thinking about coming over here and having a conversation, you know, we like to paint ourselves as like, oh, this is how it went, and it was pure all the way, and I've never left that, you know, like I've been bombing and doing graffiti, but no, at a certain point I had to step back, and it was, I think, because everything moved so fast at such a young age, was fortunate enough to be like, you know, I can't do this. It was either gonna run me into the ground or I was gonna, you know, wind up in prison.
So you got sober?
I got sober. That was the initial.
Good for you.
Yeah, that was the initial step into opening that door of other opportunities in life. So that led to many years of being sober and walking that path and helping people and growing as a young man. I mean, I think as an adult it's a little harder for some people.
Well, for me, what made me switch was when Purish killed himself.
Yeah.
You know, really changed everything for me because he was like my big brother.
Okay.
Like the protector and the provider of what this thing that we called our little crew in our life. And it's like when he was gone, like the crew just assembled and everybody realized it was time to grow up.
That's right.
In case they were like, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like fun, racking, and fucking doing nitros and like, you know, having all these good times associated with our lifestyle. But we were like, that's where it could end up for us with a gun in our fucking mouth.
So, I mean, it was a big shift for me too, because I kind of had to leave that world that I knew. Those patterns of, you know, what I thought being a graffiti artist was, you know, holding a strong presence in the community. I had to like deflate my ego completely and be humble with like, yeah, I'm just taking care of my life. You know, to be in the world of doing graffiti at a young age, you really had to be on your game constantly. You know, you had to watch your back because there's constant battles. You know, someone dishes you, you're dissing somebody, you're always watching your back. And you're going out and you're making a point of who you are, or who your crew is, or who the people are that you're backing up. And if someone else has beef, you're gonna back them up, even if you don't have beef with that person. So you're constantly puffed up, ready, on guard at all times. Most painting has a historical representation of the past in the sense of it came from a religious base, in a sense, right? So I kind of look at beautifying a neighborhood that's maybe like, you know, all fucked up and ghettoized, and there's just this mural. It's just purely expressing color in the middle of, you know. And to me, it represents, in a sense, in an analogy type of, you know, in a way, it's like a stained glass window in a church. It's not just reflecting color, but like a stained glass window, light is coming through. So, I mean, it's kind of on the same lines of what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. In the past, we did a lot of pieces that, you know, I see pictures of, but the memories of doing them are kind of hazy because we were, you know, probably having a good time and pretty drunk. I'd say more now in the present. I'm pretty aware of what I do. I don't get too attached to paintings. I think it's more just sort of about the experience and then giving it away. I mean, I'm learning a lot right now because I'm doing more painting in a studio environment. And so I'm constantly being stimulated by a lot of different things aside from the past and what we used to do. I mean, definitely, I'd say on top of the list is risk.
Nice.
Him and I, you know, we were best of friends in the graffiti days. And I mean, we still are. And he's always helped me. You know, I mean, a lot of what he did influenced what I was doing. And I would never deny that for 1 minute. I'd say someone that I really, really look up to and respect is German painter Andre Butzer. Really good friend of mine and has just influenced me in every way. Really moved by how he expresses himself through color and I mean, not even technique, but just what comes through in his paintings. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to be in the space with him and do a couple shows, and so yeah, those two guys.